Hey, welcome returning listeners, subscribers, and new folks. Welcome you as well. Yes, this is Uncensored. The parts that were redacted or omitted in the first book are included. So I'm going to read the entire book again with the missing part or redacted parts revealed. It's a doozy. So also I said to others, whether it's true or not, but I'm leaning on it being true. And I said, if I was mixed up in these shenanigans and this was exposed to the world, I would deny it too. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that, folks. Deny, deny, deny. That's what Hollywood does until they can't. It also has extra things in here that wasn't in the first book that I read. So buckle up your seatbelts and let's take this journey again together. And we all have a right to our own opinions and speculations, just in case I needed to say that. Let's go. In 2017, Kim Porter sent me her novel that she was diligently working on. Kim felt there were truths she had to disclose and didn't want to hide any longer. She acknowledged some of the secrets in her book were going to hurt several people, but she wanted Sean P. Diddy Combs taken down, and she had to tell her story to do it. I warned her. Sean didn't care that she was the mother of his children, but she was tired of living in fear of him. I knew how it was going to go down. He was going to unalive her. I just wish she would have listened because she was a good person. Kim made me promise that if something happened to her, I will make sure this book became public to the world. The way Sean moved, I knew that was a promise I would have to fulfill. Kim knew I was a woman of my word, and this book was going to make it to print. Her kids deserve to know the truth. I'm going to make sure her story gets told, and Kim wanted to tell it all. I don't know if I will be alive to see this book in print, but there are too many secrets. I can't remain silent anymore. Kim Porter. And no, they do not say who the woman supposedly is who promised Kim that she would get her, her words out. Let's get into chapter 1, the introduction. Soon after high school, I started landing modeling jobs. I couldn't believe it. It was all happening so fast. I met my husband, father of my oldest child, one of the oldest friends in life, I'll be sure. It was a whirlwind romance. I was only 19 when we married, and no, it did not work out. Al is still one of my best friends to this day. Our son Quincy is such a talented and wonderful young man. At that time, I had no idea my relationship with Al was going to introduce me to the man that I would spend the better part of my adult life with. This man who I loved, cherished, and now fear and hate. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I will say, although I knew what was going on, I turned a blind eye to it like I didn't. Here I have to tell this truth. Unfortunately, I knew everything that was happening. I lied to myself, but I knew. He was so charming, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a devil, and I fell for it. This story must be told despite the fact that it will hurt my children. I cannot hide it any longer. Sean Combs must be stopped. Chapter 2, Humble Beginnings. I was born to loving parents, Jake Porter and Sarah L. Porter, in the Peach State of Georgia, all through Columbus High School, where I graduated. In 1988, I knew I was going to be famous. In the 10th grade, one of my best friends, Tina, said to me, "You won't make it here in Georgia." I knew if I really wanted to be famous, I would have to leave my hometown and my home, Georgia. That conversation was so important as I look back now. It changed my life. I met Al while I was working in the industry. He was so dope and charming, and I had such a crush on him. We were married before I knew it, and Quincy was on the way. But I was young, and it just felt like it wasn't going to last. It was a little heated between us after we separated, but we got past that quickly. He is just a super dope guy and an amazing father. Though we separated, we are forever bonded through Quincy. Thank you, Al. I will always love you. When I met Sean, he was cool. I didn't think much of him at the time. He was just another guy at the label. Uptown was huge and we were all living our best life. But Sean continued to lay on a charm, and before I knew it, we were dating. As a young single mom at one of the hottest companies in the world, life couldn't get any better than it did. My boyfriend was getting even bigger. He and Clyde would hang out a lot, but I didn't think anything of it. I mean, that was his boss, and he was doing things bigger than most men dare to even dream. Then it happened. I mean, okay, I was a little bit of a freak. I really enjoyed myself with my partner, and toys are one thing, but I never imagined having a man I was dating asking me to use a toy on him. The first time he said he just wanted to experiment, try something new. I was grossed out, but he kept begging. He said it would only be this one time, and he was just curious. I was only 20 at the time. I said, what the hell? I hated it. He bled from it, and there was ish on it. I left him alone after that. Chapter 3, Second Chances. Sean kept reaching out, and I kept ignoring his calls. Eventually, in a few weeks, we ran into each other at an event. He came over and sat next to me. We were cordial. He flattered me by saying, "You look so amazing." I replied with a simple, "Thanks, Sean." I tried to get up to leave, but he pulled my arm. As I turned to him, he looked deep into my eyes and said, "Look, what happened between us was weird, but I really care about you. Can we?" He paused, and I tried to use this as an attempt to escape. I pulled my hand back and said, "Sorry, Sean, I have to go." "Please, I think I'm falling in love with you. Can we talk?" My breath was taken away. Did he say he loved me? It was so fast. I wasn't aware of this as his manipulation tactic yet. God, I was so young, so naive. He continued, "Let's just have dinner." I fell for it. 2 days later, we went out for drinks at a lounge in Lower Manhattan. The place was nice. Sean was really coming up and pulling out all the stops to impress me. He pulled the chair out for me to sit. Back then, he was always a gentleman. He smiled and said, "Look," as he sat across from me, "I hated it. I never want to do it again. Give me a chance." Over coffee the next morning, I decided to give him another chance. For the next year and a half, things seemed pretty normal. It was fun. Things were going great, and we were living the dream that I dreamt about throughout my youth. Sean and Clyde were working on Bad Boy, and he had his first couple of artists. He picked up Craig Mack and then some rapper from West Coast called Notorious B1 to help Chris develop. He was collaborating with huge names in hip-hop to make it happen. Things could not be more amazing. Then he asked me to do it again. It was insane. Sean said, "Baby, I can't stop thinking about it." "What the hell are you talking about?" I responded. Sean continued, "I just can't stop thinking about that night. It was amazing. Can you screw me one more time? Please." Kim became infuriated. You notice that? It didn't say I. Okay, let's go on. "Why don't you go to Clive? He's the one screwing you, isn't he?" That's the first time he hit me. He slapped me hard. Before I could form words, he began to beg. I'm sorry." Holding my cheek where he hit me, I turned and ran off. That should have been it, but I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. He sent flowers and a bunch of expensive gifts. Then we bumped into each other at another industry event. He sat down next to me. This was deja vu. Sean started. "Imagine running into you here. Get the F away from me." He became more serious as he said, "Look, baby, I'm sorry." I glared at him. "There is nothing you could ever say to me. Nothing." After an awkward silence, he finished, "You know I love you. I love your son. He's my son. I don't know how to fix this, but I'll do anything. I'm sorry." Ish, he can be so sweet. Here we go with the love. This time it's not falling in. He was great with Quincy, and to be honest, despite everything, I missed him. As he stood up to walk away, I remember hearing myself saying, "Call me later." What the F is wrong with me? Chapter 4, Forgiveness. Sean arrived with flowers in hand. He wanted to see Quincy. He was so good with him. And Quincy ran over to hug him. I felt my heart melting. He asked Quincy, "How you doing, Tiger?" Quincy looked so innocent as he responded, "I'm good. I miss you." Sean's response sounded genuine. "I miss you too. We'll hang out tomorrow, okay?" "Okay." Sean gave him a little love tap on the butt. "It's bedtime." Quincy replied, "Okay, good night," as he turned to head towards his bedroom. Now, first commentary, or second. Yeah, that stood out to me the first time I read it, when she put in, or whoever put in, if it's true, he tapped him on the butt. It was like, why would you put that in there? It was for a reason. Let's go on. He was the man I fell in love with, but what was I thinking? Ish. Not only does he want butt plugs, he slapped the ish out of me. So why am I still talking to him? They say that love is blind, but is it stupid too? As Quincy left, Sean looked at me and smiled. "Baby, let's go have some fun. The babysitter is on the way. I just want to show you a good time." I was so mad at myself for melting as I said, "Okay." We sat on the couch laughing and genuinely having a good time when the doorbell rang. The babysitter had arrived, so we left. As we exit the house, a big man climbed out of the limo and opened the door for us. He wore a sharp suit with a gun noticeably tucked under his arm. I thought to myself, he could have made it invisible, or did he want me to see it? Despite my reservations, Gene was a sweetheart. He was very courteous and polite as he tipped his head and said, "Good evening, ma'am." Gene drew a smile out of me as I responded, "Hello." Gene and I would see each other a lot after this day. Chapter 5, Sean Neal. The year passed, and thankfully we didn't have many bad arguments. Although Sean was strongly getting into voodoo, he would put curses on people, and I wasn't sure how to respond to that craziness. My problem as a single mother was I wanted to be married. He always had excuses and delays when it came to committing to marriage. His label was blowing up, Biggie dropped, and it was just about over. He also signed Mary J. Blige, and of course, when I found out he slept with her, we fought. He claimed it was a mistake, and my stupid ass took him back again. I wish they expounded a little bit more on the voodoo thing. It was just like, oh, by the way, he was into voodoo. Let's go on. Or he was allegedly into voodoo. Let's go on. Sean asked me for a threesome with her. At first, I was mad, but Mary was beautiful. It was our first threesome, and I loved it. Mary was sexy. I would not be doing this a lot, but it was so hot. I was young, and exploring my sexuality was enticing. Over the years, we brought other women into our bedroom periodically, and we were happy. This is until one day I came home to a situation that went from awkward to a nightmare. Now listen, folks. Get ready. This is the first reveal. And this is what's in the book. So let's continue. Quincy was with the babysitter, and Sean was sitting with Al at the dinner table. I had a child with Al, and Sean was a father in Quincy's life. The awkwardness of all of us being together had dissolved a long time ago, but it was still weird that they were here in my home together alone. I sat down and we had drinks. It was fun. The conversation was cool until it wasn't. I was a little loose after a couple of drinks. I remember him saying, "It's still weird seeing you with my friend, but you're happy, so I'm happy for you guys." Sean responded, "Thanks, man. Me and you, we've shared so much." Al replied coolly, "Word." The conversation took an odd and awkward turn when Sean said, "We all been together sexually, but not together." I was shocked for a moment as quietness lingered in the room. I asked, "What do you mean by all together?" Al shifted uncomfortably, but Sean didn't hesitate. "You know, we sometimes invite other people into our bed." I couldn't believe it. Oh, hell no. Sean, this is my son's father. Al, say something. What Al said was mind-boggling. I don't know. It could be kind of hot. I miss you in that way. Although I couldn't believe Sean would do this, the truth was I still cared about Al, and this could be very hot. I just didn't want it messing up my relationship and things become awkward. How would it affect Quincy? So I asked, are you both sure? I imagined both of them inside me. I knew this would be awkward sexually. There would be some bumping of genitals, but what happened next, I couldn't imagine in my wildest dreams. Yeah, I thought about it. For the sake of YouTube, I'm going to use a little bit of discretion. I'm not going to leave you hanging, though. Allegedly, well, the book says that Sean Diddy Combs and Al orally pleasured one another in front of Kim's face, and she was shocked as hell. Let's continue. I couldn't believe it. I stood there in shock. But when Sean pushed him down and returned the favor, I ran out the room. This is too much. I couldn't. Sean called out to me, oh, come on, Kimmy. They didn't chase after me. They were too wrapped up in each other. I couldn't get that image out of my mind. I couldn't be with Sean for a while. But that wouldn't be the last time I saw Sean in a compromising position, not by a long shot. One day I found the vault where he kept all of his encounters with men. Yes, he kept a record of it, but that's for later. Oh, God. I need to take a break right quick. Let's go to chapter 6. Going back to Cali. Biggie took over East Coast hip-hop, and Sean was the brilliant mind that orchestrated it. He hired people to teach Chris how to flow, write his lyrics. He hired the best producers to do the beats, although he took credit for them, and the music was unstoppable. At this point, Sean was sleeping with all the power players, and everyone who wanted to do music wanted to be a bad boy. Sean willed and dealed in a way that would have been unthinkable to many. He slept with the guys that really controlled the music to stay on top. A lot of the names average people have never heard of. These are the guys that make the decisions on who is winning and who is not. He hosted parties that were just a fancy name for orgies, and everyone wanted in. When I met Pac, Sean and I had an open relationship, and yes, I slept with Pac. He was sexy. Sean didn't mind. Well, not until he tried to get Pac to join both of us. Pac was not good with that. This is where the relationship between them became strained. Tupac wasn't going to accept Sean's advances. Pac wasn't gay, and he was pissed about the advances. We were all in Sean's house. I was drinking, they were smoking, and everyone was just relaxing. Sean came in on what I am sure he would call a smooth approach. My baby is bad, isn't she? Pac threw me a sly smile. Hell yeah. I felt myself blush. Sean was now in full swing. You think you hit it better than me? I couldn't believe he disrespected me in that way. I was not playing with my response. Sean, what the F? Pac came to my defense. Damn, bro. You ain't got to do a sister that way. Tupac appeared upset behind Sean's words. Sean went in for the kill regardless. I think my D's bigger than yours. I bet I can make her come faster than you. What's up? Pac was appalled. What the F are you talking about, nigga? I ain't trying to run no effing train. Sean continued. What you scared of? Let's see who F's better. Let her be the judge. Yes, at this point, we have been inviting others into our bed for a while, but I am not used to and will not stand for disrespect. I wasn't the only one upset. Pac shouted, nigga. You talking about pulling your effing D out? Sean was undaunted. What, you scared? Tupac simply left. Things were contentious since then. The two could not be in the same room. Pac avoided me as much as he did Sean. When they did bump into each other, the tension was palpable. It felt like blows could be thrown at any moment. Months passed with only the tension between them. It was uncomfortable, but nothing life or death. Then one day, while we were at the studio, it happened. I walked into Sean's office and he was having the conversation. Sean sat across from Jimmy Henchman. Pac don't leave that effing studio alive. I don't think I was supposed to hear it. I continued as if I didn't. Hey, Sean. Good morning, Jimmy. They didn't seem to think I heard anything. I'm ordering breakfast. Smiling, Sean replied first. Let me get eggs, sunny side up with grits and an orange juice. I could see he was hungover. Good. I don't want him knowing I know anything. If he just put a hit on Pac, knowing something could be dangerous. Jimmy, apparently not hungry, said, nothing for me. As he stood to exit the room, he said to Sean, let's make that happen. Then nodded to me and said, Kim, always a pleasure. With a wink to me and a nod, he turned and walked out. Jimmy was a part of our intimate circle. I went on as if nothing was happening. I'll make the call now. I smiled as I left, hoping I wasn't white as a sheet. I wasn't in the studio the night Pac survived being shot, thank God. From what I understand, Sean and Chris saw Pac at the studio after he'd been shot and did nothing. The way God works, after being shot, Pac made it to the elevator and tried to escape, but it stopped at the floor Sean and Chris were on. When the doors opened, they saw him lying on the elevator floor riddled with bullets. The fact that they didn't call an ambulance, although they saw Pac lying there swimming in a pool of his own blood, would be all the evidence Pac ever needed. He, of course, assumed they placed a hit. Tupac is a soldier. This is not something that will be unanswered. Tupac didn't do well. He lost a lung, but he survived. This is how the infamous East Coast-West Coast beef came to be. It was orchestrated. Sean Puffy Combs was the orchestrator. And if you guys remember the first book, it said he lost a testicle. So I don't know. Let's continue. Chapter 7, Threats. At this point, I knew I had to get away from him, but I was scared. Is he going to take my life if I tried to escape? One February evening, I thought I found my opportunity at dinner after an event. We were at a ritzy restaurant in a private booth. It was an exclusive setup. We were alone, but we were in public. Perfect. Sean was on the phone talking to an unknown listener as he sat down. His words on that call will be etched into my mind forever. We're going to release who shot you now. He waited for a response, then went on to say, of course they going to think Big was talking about Pac. What's the whole effing point? Nobody would give a F about a diss track about LL effing Cool J. Do you know how much money we'll make with this kind of rap beef? Ends battling after someone really got shot? This may not be the best time for this conversation. Sean was finishing up. We drop that ish tomorrow. He listened to the phone, then responded, there's going to be blood in the street. Ends missed. Pac's alive. Let's capitalize on that S. When he responds, it's just going to mean more money. He turned around and looked at me, spoke back into the phone, I'll call you back. Then hung up and spoke to me. What's wrong? I tried my best to give a fake smile at what I've heard. After all, me and Pac were intimate. I responded, nothing. Sean was a fool. Are you sure? His demeanor was threatening, but I responded as cool as I could muster to his intimidating stare. Yeah, of course. He took my hand saying, that's wonderful. He began to squeeze my hand until it hurt as he continued, because seeing you walk in the office while I was talking about killing that MFer and you not saying ish to me had me just a little concerned. His grip was starting to hurt badly. You're hurting me. As he continued, he squeezed tighter. Your pretending that you didn't hear anything was a sign of your loyalty to me. Not something I should be concerned with, right? I had no choice but to give him the answer he wanted. I knew I was trapped when I responded, of course I'm loyal to you. He let me go as he responded, good. And remember, I'm the big D. I snatched my hand back in pain. He smiled and said, Let's start off with good wine. He snapped his fingers and his favorite wine was poured for him. They knew what Sean wanted, and what he wanted he got. I'm trapped. Now isn't a time for me to launch my escape plan. I have to be strategic. It's going to be hard to leave the glamour and the glitz, the lifestyle. I mean, this man just snapped his finger in one of the most exclusive restaurants in New York City, and they poured his drink of choice. The bottle of wine is $800, and this is in 1994. The list to get in this place is 6 months long if you are somebody. Mayor Giuliani has a table here tonight also. If I got up and walked out, I would be safe. But what about tomorrow? I had to think. He sipped his wine and smiled. You're not drinking? He pointed at the glass, and of course a waiter filled it. They knew what I liked as well. Sean has a bad temper. He yells sometimes, and okay, he's roughed me up once or twice, but he never punched me. He never bruised me, and he never hit Quincy. I would not have stood for that. He never laid a hand on my son. At that time, I never thought of him touching Quincy in any way. Now, when she said it like that, at that time, doesn't that sound like later on she found something out? Okay, let's go on. Then the significance of what he said hit me. Is he mad at Tupac over me? I'm the big D. Oh my God, the last time he put his hands on me, it was because I enjoyed Jamie Foxx too much. He enjoyed Jamie too. He gets so insanely jealous. It's not fair. He wants to bring other men into the bedroom, but gets jealous when he does. Damn, you're quiet tonight, he said, snapping me back into the present. I asked a question that was burning in my mind since I walked into the office. What does Chris think of this? He looked at me coolly and said, his fat ass better just keep doing music. A third guest was escorted over by security. Sean motioned for him to sit. A waiter walked over to Sean Carter and asked, would you like something? Carter responded, no thank you, then said hello to me with a smile. Smiling, I replied, hey Carter, and took a sip of my drink. The Seans may share a bed together from time to time, but thankfully I was never asked to join. Carter went on to speak to Sean. I thought we were meeting in private. Sean replied with a nonchalant shrug. I had to discuss something with her. It's fine. Go ahead. He wielded this kind of power. Carter shifted uncomfortably in his chair before continuing. It's true. Chris and Pac were about to start their own label. Sean slammed his fist against the table, shouting, doesn't anyone have any effing loyalty? Carter, well, that's not happening now, right? Sean peered at Carter with distrust. Why the F are you so eager to share this with me? Chris is your man. F, he brought you on, and you stabbing him in the back? Carter responded with indignity. First, I'm tired of being that nigga son. I need to come out from under his damn shadow. Sean smiled slightly. Okay, I respect that. Carter kept going. On top of that, this nigga is making that move and it should have been with me. Sean looked at Carter blankly. Pac put Chris on. You know this. What's this really all about, Carter? Don't effing try to play me. The Jay-Z of today wasn't born yet. This young Sean Carter was in over his head. Cornered. He had to spill it out. I want his spot. Ambition. Now this is a man I can work with. Sean made a grandiose gesture towards Carter. Waiter, get this MF or whatever he wants. Carter smiled. Thank you. Sean responded, honesty and ambition. We're going to make a lot of bread together. Carter ordered a drink as he stated again. Guess he won't be leaving with that nigga to do their own label now. Sean responded with his normal air of arrogance. Why don't you let me worry about that? I took this as my cue to escape. I told Sean, I'm going to go ahead and get back to Quincy. Sean was wrapped up in this conversation with Carter and barely noticed as he excused me. Have the limo drop you off. We didn't eat. He didn't care. I smiled and kissed him on the cheek with an okay and left. Chapter 8, Kidada. Actress, model, and fashion designer Kidada Jones was Tupac Shakur's fiancée and the daughter of record producer Quincy Jones and actress Peggy Lipton. Being around other celebrities was just a part of life. Meeting Kidada was just one of those events, and as time went on, we became close. We hung out together, went shopping, and so on. It was about the same time I met Kimora. Those were the days, so I thought. We always had girl talk, and the fact she was dating someone I had previously been with wasn't a source of contention. We didn't get jealous of each other. It was just girl stuff. No, I did not become intimate with Kidada. Kimora was too jealous for that. Yes, Kidada knew about Kimora, Sean, and I all being together sexually. Of course she did. We shared that kind of thing. We were open and honest with each other about almost everything. A true friendship, except I couldn't be open and honest about everything. Not anymore. Sean made sure of that. Kidada and Pac were the greatest couple. He was always so cool and, yes, sexy. She was so beautiful and fun. Before everything happened, we used to all hang out together. It was always dope vibes. But after Pac was shot, the vibes between Kidada and I changed. The vibes weren't always so dope anymore. Then came that night. Award shows weren't anything new for us. At this point, we dolled up as the men groomed. We didn't choose what we wore. A stylist prepared our color palettes, a makeup artist did our makeup, and a hairstylist did our hair. This was just the way of things. We shared the best stylists in the business. Sometimes we would all go to the studio for an event to get our measurements taken, but this time, Kidada seemed different. I felt like something was wrong. But when I probed her, she wouldn't say anything. Then the day of the event was here. We would all see each other inside. Even though Sean was my man, as far as props, I had nothing on Kidada. Being Quincy Jones' daughter had perks, and superstardom was among them. Pac wasn't there. When she saw us, she came over to our table. We sat around kicking it in a very dope vibe. Sean knew he was going to clean up this award show. He had all but taken over the East Coast musically. With all the hits, there really was no way he wouldn't. Bad Boy is Hall of Fame stuff now, and Sean P. Diddy Combs knew it. Sean smiled at Kidada as she sat at our table, but something about that smile didn't seem authentic. Soon I would know why. He's sick when he has a grudge against someone. As she said, Sean said, "Bad Boy is going to clean the F up." From his table with Faith, Chris replied, "Hell yeah. And that new ish we busting out, gonna have these ends sick." Kidada signaled for the waiter to pour her a glass of ginger ale that sat over at her table. As the waiter refreshed her drink, she said, "Pac's music gonna get some love too." Sean grimaced. "Oh, come on, Sean. I know y'all got your differences, but you have to admit the man makes great music." Sean looked at me on the side of his eye, took another sip of his favorite cognac, and replied, "Bad Boy got the hottest music on the effing planet, but I ain't tripping. Everybody got to get their shine, right?" Kidada signed. "Sean, he thinks you were involved with him getting shot. You were so close. You need to make this right." Sean responded indignantly, "Why the F would that nigga think I had anything to do with it?" Kidada retorted, "Sean, can you blame him?" Sean was obviously not happy with that question by his reply. "Hell yeah, I blame him. We had a good thing going, all of us. That nigga turned on me, and he has the effing balls to blame me for his shooting." The indignity he managed to spew out while lying through his teeth was something I did not expect. I was thrown back for a moment, then interjected, "Duh, do we have to do this tonight? It's Sean's big night." Kimora heard the ruckus and made her way over to our table as well. She sat down and said, "Hey, everybody," with that big dimpled smile. I smiled and replied, "Hey." Kidada also seemed happy to see her as she said, "Hey, what up, Kimmy?" Kimora, never the type to hold her tongue, went straight at it. "The whole place is buzzing with the fact you're sitting here accusing Sean of having Pac shot. Y'all kinda, loud," she laughed. Kidada seemed embarrassed as she looked around to see everybody staring and whispering. But she wasn't about to back off. In fact, she doubled down. Anybody here not talking about it ain't real anyway. We all know Sean was behind it. Kimura forced a smile. Honey, we don't have to do this here. Kidada made clear she was not to be silenced as she continued. Oh, let's not hurt the feelings of Sean Puffy Combs. He only had one of the most prolific rappers in the game shot. Sean clenched his hands into fists. If this was anyone else, this would have turned ugly. But this was Quincy Jones' daughter. Sean was a monster in the streets, well feared by men that knew. But he did not want any of the smoke Quincy could bring. Kidada could continue with impunity. Sean could not touch her. Christopher and Mary both wanted to defend the super producer that made them famous. Both started to stand and make their way over to the table, but Sean signaled them off with a firm motion of his hand. They remained in their seats watching helplessly. Kidada seemed to be on a full rampage. You're not safe in the streets, Sean. You think you're untouchable? Kimura seemed almost red in the face when she grabbed Kidada by the hand, saying, I gotta go to the restroom. Kidada, not willing to stop, snatched her hand away, yelling, let go of me. Kimura needed her to get a grip and said sternly as a parent speaking to a child, mid-temper tantrum, die. Kidada turned to her and yelled, what? Kimura nodded toward the crowded room and Kidada looked around. Here she deflated slightly. Kimura, now in control, spoke firm but softly, let's go powder our nose. Kidada nodded with a grimace, gave a sharp look back at Sean as she walked away. As the tension slowly melted away, I asked Sean, you okay? Sean didn't reply at first. He looked around, saw that no one was really paying attention now that the ruckus had died down, and stood to get the pitcher of ginger ale from Kidada's table. He poured himself a drink from it, looked around again, saw no one was paying attention, and put the pitcher under the table. What was he doing? Then I heard the distinct sound of liquid being poured into liquid. Oh my God. Is he peeing in a pitcher? He smiled at me as he brought the pitcher back from under the table and finally replied to me, I'm good. He then stood and returned the pitcher to the table. I was in awe. I knew he had a bad temper, but this was disgusting. I'll never eat or drink something after we have an argument again. Kidada and Kimura made their way back to Kidada's table to sit as Sean watched on quietly. Sean made small talk. Which songs you think they're going to give me an award for? As Kidada poured her drink, Sean's guard made his way up to the table. I think he stopped her from drinking as everyone else just sat and watched. There was some scandalous ass friends. If you're just going to sit there and watch me drink piss, Let's continue. Jean risked and cured Sean's wrath, if I'm right. Relieved, I replied, babe, your catalog is crazy. It could be a lot of songs. Sean glared at the table the entire night. Chapter 9, going back to Cali. We had just had a wild night. It was after one of Sean's infamous parties. Everyone was there, and we not only had threesomes, but we also swapped partners. Our sex life was crazy, but I got to do things with Sean I would never have been able to do with a straight man. Sean cared about me, but it was becoming more and more obvious that he preferred men. I was beginning to think I was there more to cover his wild desires than because he really wanted to be with me. He was like Caesar, every woman's man and every man's woman. But truthfully, at that stage, I was becoming okay with that. I woke up and left the bedroom where I was with Jada, and he happened to be coming out of the bedroom. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? He happened to be coming out of the bedroom with Snoop and Will Smith. Yes, Snoop attended the parties from time to time. I could see him and Will kind of snuggled on the bed. I was grateful I wasn't asked to join in that room. I really didn't like Snoop. Now you guys got your answer. Everyone who speculated allegedly that X was Snoop. Let's go on. Sean smiled when he saw me. Good morning. Here at the orgies, he wasn't affectionate. He didn't have to pretend. He couldn't walk straight. I knew how he felt. We've had sessions playing with each other's anal cavities. I wanted to be home before Quincy woke up, so I told him, I'm getting ready to go. Let's have a cup of coffee first. This meant he wanted to talk. I didn't know what it was about, but in situations like this, I really didn't have a choice. He was becoming more violent when he didn't get what he wanted, and I didn't really want to fight. So I sat down, but before we started talking, Snoop came out the room. Sean was wearing boxers. Snoop was in his birthday suit. Snoop addressed us, morning. When he turned around and closed the door, there was a dried cum stain on his back. Snoop walked over, pulled a chair. Oh my God, I can't even act like I can't picture that on somebody's back. Oh God. Remember, hey, some people say this book is her writings. Some people say it ain't. But I'ma say allegedly. Let's continue. Snoop walked over, pulled a chair out to sit down next to us, and lit up a blunt. Sean stretched, smiled, and said, this East Coast, West Coast beef is more lucrative than I thought, but it's getting dangerous. Snoop responded, surprised. Business first thing in the morning? Damn, cuz, you own it. But you know you don't got nothing to worry about. You got a pass, daddy. Snoop smiled coldly. Sean apparently... Ooh. Okay, let's go. Sean apparently has something to talk about with Snoop as well, because he said, I can't protect everybody, especially if someone is no longer going to be on my label. It was apparent Snoop was taken aback by this turn of events by his reply. Sean, are you saying what I think you're saying? Sean continued, it's taxing on my resources to protect people. Someone that isn't 100% on my team can't get 100% of my protection. What the hell is going on here? What does Sean want from me? This morning is turning out to be way more than I expected, and I have to go. Quincy will be looking for me. Meanwhile, Snoop apparently wanted clarity. So, to be clear, if something happened, Snoop made quotation marks with his fingers, to one of your artists that was leaving your label anyway, it would be considered, he makes another set of quotation marks, out of your control? Is that what you're saying? Wait a minute. Can they be talking about Chris? Is Sean saying he won't protect Chris? At this point, I was too young, too naive, too hungover to understand that this was not a lack of protection. This was a hit. Where did this come from this morning? But an older, wiser me understands now what I did not comprehend all those years. Sean was just getting to the real reason that he had Snoop there. The world was about to lose B.I.G. Snoop laughed. You a cold MFer. Sean said, why the F should I protect someone that isn't going to stick around? I made him. That end should be worshiping the ground I effing walk on. I was thinking Sean's ego is rearing its ugly head, and I wanted to get out of there, but instincts told me I need to tread carefully, so my next move had to be calculated. I don't really want any part of this, not even implicitly, but I was just dragged right into the middle of it. If what was happening here ever comes out, will I be held as an accomplice? But even as those thoughts crossed my mind, I couldn't just pretend this was okay. So I said, but Sean, he hasn't left yet. They're just rumors. Are you going to let him die because of some rumors? Sean glared at me, the anger in his voice obviously stemming from hurt as he said, I know when I'm being betrayed. I am not killing anyone, but I am not protecting somebody that doesn't have my back 150%. F that. This was railing out of control. My mind began to race. Is there a way to get through to him? Maybe I could use the finance route. Sean, he's bringing in so much money. You put so much money into cultivating him. Are you going to throw away all that money? That's when he revealed how far out this meeting was. If he leaves, he takes all the money I invested into creating him, Sean sighs. But if he can't protect himself and something terrible does happen, then the money I will make off his death will blow away all the money we made so far. I was perplexed. Sean, he continued, he's worth more to me dead than alive. Sean Combs is a calculated monster. Snoop chimes in. I get that, fam. A lot of people out there want B.I.G. dead too. Without your protection, he doesn't stand a chance in Cali. Chris is going to die. This is crazy. I dare not say anything else about it. Sean smiles and stands to walk over to the safe behind a picture. There he pulls out a bag marked with Snoop's name. He turns to Snoop and says, that's why you're worth your weight in gold. You understand me. Here's a little something for you to take care of my people. Snoop smiles. Sean, I love you, baby. You know I got your back. Your problems are my problems. I'll make sure to have my people take care of your people. I need to get out of here. This is crazy. I attempted to leave again. Sean, I want to go get Quincy before he wakes up. Sean looked at me, responding, it's getting late. Give him a kiss for me. I'm going to get out of here, thank God. Snoop, always with something to say. I love to meet the little tyke sometimes. Not a chance in hell. Something about this guy creeps me out. I forced a smile. That would be great. I made my exit. Damn. Why does she not like Snoop? Allegedly, this is Snoop. Why didn't she like this dude? It's a rhetorical question, really. Let's go on. Chapter 10. The lies you tell. At this point, the relationship between Sean and I had been off and on for quite a while, and we were off at this point. He had put his hands on me again, this time for something that didn't even happen. It was all in his head. When the phone rang, I picked it up anyway. Hi, Sean. Sean sounded trepidatious as he said, we've been broken up for a while this time. Yeah. He continued, I don't want anyone to know about he paused to search for the right word. Proclivities, I replied. So you don't want people to know about you being gay? He exploded. See, that's why I effing lose control on you. Goodbye, Sean. Wait. I was completely exasperated as I spoke. What, Sean? I'm sorry. You're always effing sorry. He took a deep breath. I have to do something to cover myself. I sighed. Do whatever you effing want, Sean. When you see this in the news, it's not real. This made me calm down a moment. What could he be talking about? He continued, I'm only doing it for the press. Doing what, Sean? After a long pause, he continued, she knows what this is. She is just pretending to cover me. Sean, what the hell are you talking about? Another pause. Publicly, I'm going to be dating someone else, a video girl. I laughed. Why would you do that? I have to cover myself. I was getting mad. I was actually angrier at myself more than at him. Why was I getting jealous? I was sitting there actually comparing myself to video vixens in my mind. They are thick, but look at my body. Did he prefer some light-skinned, big-butt girls from videos? I calmed myself. No, I know he likes men any damn way. As I regained control, I asked, why the hell are you telling me? He sighed. I wanted you to find out for me first. Like I give a S. He came at me with his favorite line. You know I love you. It was getting old. I could only think to myself, here we go. Love is a big, strong word. I'm tired of him throwing it around and using it when it fits his needs. He's using it while he's sitting here telling me about dating someone else. I replied, you don't hit people you love, Sean. Love doesn't hurt. He sucked his teeth as he responded, come on, are you serious? That ish is for children. We aren't in effing high school. Sometimes things happen. That doesn't mean I don't love you. I wouldn't hit you if I didn't. Wait, that sounded wrong. You said exactly what you meant. He took a deep breath. There was an awkward silence. The fact I was still on the phone and waiting for him to speak meant he had the power. He was more cautious as he continued. He didn't want to lose that power. Kim, no one that I don't care about can bring that kind of emotion out of me. I wanted to say, is that how you talk to dudes after using butt plugs? But there's a line I dare not cross. Instead, I said, you say that while you're dating some other bitch? That's just for the public. I was done. It could be heard in my voice as I said, whatever, Sean, do what you need to do. Leave me alone. I'm never giving up on us. I responded to that emotional control attempt with the little resolve I could muster. I didn't even believe the words that came tumbling out of my mouth. Sean, there's no us anymore. Goodbye. Tell Quincy I miss him. His emotional manipulation was really driving me crazy. This time I said with much more conviction, goodbye, Sean. Bye, baby. I hung up. Manipulative bastard. Chapter 11, more problems. For a while, I was actually happy to see Sean gone. I was getting older and the sex parties were out of control. It was getting time for me to slow down. Quincy was getting older. I knew that if I kept going, the rumors circulating were going to eventually find a way to get back to him. What will he think of me? Chris is about to take his trip to California. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen out there, but I felt like Tiana was about to be an orphan. I knew I didn't want any ties to that. As I was sitting there contemplating all of this in my robes, sipping on wine on this Friday evening, my doorbell rang. I was not expecting company. I opened the door to see Sean. My heart skipped a beat. I was shocked but recovered quickly. I forced a smile, told him with a slightly slurred speech, "Hey, come on in." Ish. I am way more intoxicated than I thought. Sean entered looking suspiciously, then turned to me and smiled, saying, "You haven't been returning my calls. I just wanted to make sure you're okay." "I'm fine." He obviously was not here out of concern. He was checking to see who was here. Sean was controlling like that. Yes, even though we were not together and he was dating someone else, he started to make his way to the living room. I attempted to put a quick end to the visit, but it came out a little more directly than I intended. "So, since you see I'm fine, you can let me go to bed now." Part of me wanted him to stay. As he entered the living room, I was forced to follow. Sean was very direct with his next inquiry. "Is someone else waiting for you?" "No, but Sean, we're not together. You're dating someone else. I can F whoever I choose." With this, Sean became irate. He fiercely slammed me to the ground. Then he pulled out a .22 and set it on the end table. He turned to me calmly. I was scared. My voice quivered as I pleaded to him. "Sean, please stop. Quincy is here." How did we get here? How did we get to the point that he was in my living room threatening me with a gun? He knelt on one knee and got right in my face to say, "You're mine. You don't have a choice in that now. I can't live without you." He stood up, composing himself. I was terrified as I whimpered, "Sean, that's not love." Sean picked up his gun and cocked it. He looked at me almost thoughtfully and asked, "Have you ever heard, if I can't have you, no one can?" "Sean, please don't. Please. Quincy, we're here." Sean smiled and put the gun away, saying, "Oh, this is just for dramatic effect. I would never shoot you. If I was going to kill you, no one would trace it to me. You know how many people I've had to take care of over the years? It will be quiet. Something in your food or drink, something that will never get back to me. I wouldn't shoot you. Do you understand?" I could only nod, tears flowing down my cheeks. He looked at me thoughtfully as he reached down to help me up. I could do nothing but agree. He's a terrifying monster. Now he wanted to smooth it over and I had to go along with it. What else could I do? Listen, baby, I don't ever want to hurt you. You know I really love you, or I would have moved on. Thinking about living my life without you is just too hard. If someone ever tried to hurt you, I would kill them. My back hurt from where I hit it on the table when he shoved me. All I could do as he helped me up was nod that I understood through my streaming tears, which he wiped. He looked towards Quincy's room. Let me say goodnight. No, Sean, please. Thinking quickly, he has to get up in the morning. Sean looked at me with an unreadable look. He was studying me. Okay, I'ma go. Shakily, I walked him to the front door. This is over, thank God. He kissed me. I didn't want him touching me, but I couldn't refuse. Kiss Quincy for me. I tried to keep my composure as I replied, sure, Sean. He opened the door to leave, the bodyguard that was waiting outside escorting him to the car. This was far worse than I realized. Why would he need a bodyguard at my front door? How was he anticipating this go? After I shut the door, I had another drink. For tonight, the nightmare was over. I sipped on my wine and cried. The next few days, he sent dozens of flowers. He brought Quincy expensive toys. He didn't want me. He wanted me to keep his secrets. I'm trapped. He has the authorities under his thumb. I can't go to them. This is like a gangster movie. How high does his power go? How far is his reach? The FBI, the CIA, who is corrupted? I wouldn't get silenced by their upper chain of command. Can anyone help me or my child? Eventually, he found his way back to my bed. I had no choice. Now, Diddy's lawyers are saying that things are getting leaked. I'm wondering if someone intentionally doing this so there can be a mistrial. Something to think about. Let's go on. Chapter 12. A Mama's Love. The calamity that ensued between the death of Biggie shook the East Coast. It rocked me as well. Sean could have stopped it. He was implicit in it. He was a contributor. He knew it was going to happen and didn't stop it. This was his friend. They were not nearly as close as he would have had the public to think, but still, as far as Sean was concerned, we were great. To the public, we were just having the off and on relationship of a normal couple. And I probably just seemed like a money-hungry hoe. But the truth is, I just got used to not having a choice. Today, I recognize it for what it was, Stockholm Syndrome. I was at his beck and call and had become comfortable with it. Quincy had everything he could ever want, with the exception, of course, of a normal parental figure. That is why this chapter is so powerful for me. A mother's love is so real. One night, I was out with my boyfriend. Yes, we were on again. And we were joined for dinner by none other than Miss Wallace. Sean looked over as security allowed Miss Wallace to approach the table and sit. Miss Wallace spoke with a smile. Hello, Sean. Hi, Kim. I smiled the best I could. What a situation. For all intents and purposes, she is sitting with her son's killer. I hope my voice didn't betray my feelings as I said, hi, Miss Wallace. Sean smiled also as he said, hello, Miss Wallace. What can I do for you? When I got your call, it sounded urgent. He was able to appear as if he was smiling warmly. This was the creepiest situation in my entire life. She looked at Sean with pleading eyes. I know this isn't your problem, but things have gotten kind of hard. I was hoping that you could send some of that money Chris made with you this way. Sean shook his head. That's not something I can just do. There are attorneys and accountants. Can I maybe help you out with a little something to get you past the hump? Sean reached into his pocket to dig for his wallet. I haven't even seen how much Chris left. It's going on 2 years. Just how long is this going to take? Sean sighed as he replied, these things are difficult, Miss Wallace. I don't know. The attorneys don't make this easy. Miss Wallace pushed further. I don't understand what's so difficult. He worked for you. He made his money. Where is it? Sean shook his head as if saddened by what he was saying as he continued. It's not like I can just give you his money. You're entitled to certain amounts, and they are just trying to figure out what that amount is. I don't mean to sound cruel, but it wouldn't be fair to me to just give you tons of money. You got rich off my son. Now you're keeping all of his money? Sean kept his cool as he replied, I'm afraid business isn't cut and dry, Miss Wallace. I pay for publishing, publicity. In all actuality, if I'm going to be straightforward, Miss Wallace, Chris probably owed me money. I won't know until it's all worked out. The anger in Miss Wallace's voice barely overshadowed the pain, or perhaps it magnified it as she uttered the only words she could muster, you bastard. Sean didn't flinch. He just said, look at the contract. I am honestly trying to get him as much as possible out of it. But I have investors. I can't just take money that doesn't belong to him and start giving it away. Miss Wallace exploded in response. You know good and well Chris didn't owe you a damn thing. Sean stared her straight in the eye, unwavering, and said, he would have started making a profit after a few years. His money until his album sales paid for studio time, music videos, publishing, and marketing would have come from doing shows. I'm sorry, he isn't here to make that money. I miss him. Her response was deadpan. Did you kill my son? Momentarily stung into silence, Sean didn't immediately respond. She asked him again, her voice quivering. Did you? He started to say, Miss Wallace, she would not be redirected. Answer the question. I was not used to seeing Sean on the defensive. No, of course not. She looked at him with spite, the anger in her voice enough to send shivers up my spine. As she replied with a menace only a mother can, I don't believe you, Sean. Sean looked at her with a sadness that I knew in my soul to be fake. Although looking at him without context, anyone would believe him as he replied, I'm sorry to hear that. Today I know he was able to muster that false sincerity because he's a sociopath. Back then I thought it was compassion. With no more words, Miss Wallace stood and left. Sean watched her exit with disbelief. Not knowing what to do, I placed my order. Dinner that night was long and silent. I feared for Miss Wallace's life. Sean is most dangerous when he feels threatened. No, she could not physically threaten him, but this threat was very real. If she goes public with her accusation, Sean's image would be damaged. I have felt for myself the extents he would go to in order to protect that image. Chapter 13, Have Some Faith. The fact of the matter is, Sean was a complete control freak. He was absolutely the worst. But of all the things he did for control, this might have been one of the most despicable ones. We were in a bad boy office one evening, sitting in the lounge area, enjoying a meal. Sean was smoking one of those big cigars he liked when Faith entered and sat down with us. She seemed relaxed as she said, "Hey guys." I smiled. I never had any bad vibe from the marvelous Faith Evans. We never talked about the wild time the three of us shared at one of Sean's parties. I gave her a hug. "Hey girl, what's up?" Sean smiled and asked, "Hey, what brings you out?" She addressed Sean saying, "Look, when you asked me to hook up with Chris, I understood. You needed to control him. I felt honored that you would choose me to monitor one of your most valued assets. Chris is sweet." Sean laughed and said, "Honestly, I knew you would be good. Made the big man feel loved." I don't feel good about all this, Sean. Sean got that look in his eye he gets before he blows his top. Faith saw it also. She treaded carefully. "Sean, you know I'm as loyal as they come." Sean leaned forward unintentionally threateningly and said in a low tone, "Yeah. But Sean, Chris and I had a child together." Sean leaned back. He let out a deep breath. "I'm going to take care of you. You're not like Chris. You're loyal." Faith had a tear in her eye as she responded, "He didn't have to die." This is getting very touchy. Did she know? Did she suspect? Was he trying to find out if Sean intentionally killed Biggie? I wanted to ask, but of course there was no way of doing that. This is so crazy. Sean sighed and replied, he didn't. Don't get me wrong, I miss him. But he was leaving me anyway. No one cares about my pain. Classic narcissistic Sean. It's all about him. I was sickened for a moment, but his next sentence made me feel for him anyway. I wanted to share all this with him. He was my man. Faith couldn't hide the anger that flared in her eyes, but she knew who she was talking to. She was careful as she spoke. Sean, you have your friends you share things with. Sean sat forward again, this time with malicious intention as he queried, what the F is that supposed to mean? Chris had no one, only you. Sean lost it. That fat F and that other piece of ish I had you F. I interjected in shock. You had her F, Pac? Sean glared at me as he answered, yes, F and Pac. Those MFers were going to try to start their own label and compete with me. Me, after all I did for that fat F? Nah, I wasn't using resources to protect that mother effer. No effing way. As Faith started to cry, Sean looked at her and softened slightly. He spoke a little calmer. Look, I didn't hate him. I was hurt. But I didn't hate him. I'll make sure you and Tyshawn are taken care of. Without words, Faith got up to leave. As she turned, Sean spoke softly. Faith. She ignored him. He called her again. Faith. She exited quickly. Sean just looked at me and said, damn. I really didn't know what to say. Sean just told Chris' ex-wife and daughter's mother that he wouldn't protect her husband because he was going to leave Bad Boy. From a business perspective, I didn't disagree with Sean there. If you're leaving and creating competition for him, why would he spend resources on you? So I hugged Sean, but I also knew he didn't have to send Chris to California. I wondered if he realized that he sentenced him to death. He hugged me back with tears in his eyes as he asked, how the F am I the bad guy? Huh? I effing do nothing but bust my ass to make everyone live comfortably, and I'm supposed to just let ends walk all over me too? As I held him in a comforting embrace, I replied, no, baby. He took me right there on the couch. Like I said, Stockholm Syndrome. Chapter 14, Outshine. This evening, I was at Sean's house. Snoop had just left for his patent see ya cuz. Oh, I don't remember this. Let's go on. Quincy was at a friend's house. It was some alone time. I don't remember if we had something planned. We were just having drinks when the doorbell rang. He went to answer it, and the yelling could be heard from the other room where I sat. It was definitely Jennifer's voice shouting, Sean, what the F? J-Lo barged in. Relax. Why the hell did you have to start shooting? Isn't that what we have bodyguards for? Normally, when these kinds of situations arrive, I remain quiet and just listen. I play my position, you could say, but I wasn't paying attention to the news for the last day or so, and even though it would be the only thing anyone would talk to me about for months, no one has spoken to me about it yet. So I entered the foyer asking, what's going on? Jennifer exploded at me. What's going on? This end just shot up the damn club. My jaw dropped looking back and forth between the two. Sean spoke soothingly. Jen, you gotta calm down. Jennifer was having none of it. She continued, calm down. You shot at a bunch of innocent people, Sean. Sean placed his hand on her forearm. It's a bonding technique. He was shrewd in handling her. He does this to me too. Even if you know what's happening, it works. It's an intimate contact without being personal. He was aiming to disarm her. This did not seem to immediately sway Jennifer as she continued. Why the hell do you think Biggie's replacement will take the fall for you? Biggie's replacement? Wait, could she be talking about? I had to know, are you talking about Shine? Jennifer didn't even look at me as she responded, yes, effing Shine. Sean continued in a calm voice. Relax, the situation's under control. Jennifer was not coming down. She went on. They contacted my attorney for my statement, and there are a lot of witnesses, Sean. There's no way you're going to get away with this. Sean's arrogance can be immeasurable at times. He laughed as he asked, you doubting me? I couldn't believe it. I had to know, Sean, what could you offer him that would make him do a bid for you? Like, what the F? Jennifer also remarked, and what if he falters halfway through his sentence and starts talking? Sean responded as calmly as ever, he won't do that. People in jail don't cross connected people on the outside. Jennifer looked deflated. So, you'll kill him too? How much does she know? Look, I'm not going to threaten anyone. Shine is smart and loyal. He knows how it works. And when he gets out, he'll be well taken care of. Jennifer spoke defiantly. Sean, they want to question me. I'm not perjuring myself. I am not going to jail over this. Sean looked so in control. I admired him for it at that point. My spirit was broken. I felt bad for Jennifer. She catches one bad break after another, and this was a really bad break. Sean spoke with confidence. Relax, come in and have a drink. Have your lawyer call mine. You'll never see the witness stand, I promise. Jennifer wasn't so sure. She asked him, how can you possibly know that? Sean smiled, then he replied, between Shine's confession and the witnesses that gave their accounts, the cops won't need much else. The statement from your lawyer will be fine. Jennifer's next concern popped up. She explained, my attorney, Sean, he's good, but he won't do this. Beaming with confidence, the way only a man with his network can, Sean responded, sure he will. Jennifer shook her head defiantly as she responded, Sean, you don't know him. Sean's unbreakable confidence was ruling the day. Jennifer was giving in as he told her, with a smile, I got this. Sean, are you sure? Sean gave her a wink. My attorneys handle situations. Give him my number too. Jennifer seemed leery as she asked, you're not going to threaten my attorney? Sean laughed as he replied, no, of course not. Money talks, baby. He turned to me and said, take her inside and pour her a drink. I had questions of my own, but you were going to make Shine the label go-to man. What are you going to do now? Sean looked disappointed as he responded, he had the voice but his flow. He signed, well, artists with his talent are a dime a dozen. Looking at Jen, he continued, he's not a once-in-a-lifetime find like Jennifer Lopez. Now he's throwing on a charm. Despite the situation, she blushed slightly. Sean continued, let's grab that drink. Let me handle this attorney situation. Relax. Don't worry. We left the foyer and went to have a seat in the living room. He tried to make a threesome happen that night. It didn't work out. Not that day. Kimora and I went out to have drinks. She was looking at me seductively and I was turned on. We were going to go back to my place after. Suddenly, after a sip, I had to vomit. I excused myself and barely made it to the ladies' room. When I came back to sit down, Kim asked, you feeling okay? I'm fine. I have been under the weather the last couple of days. I think I'll head home. She said, your breasts are looking kind of plump there, girl. Embarrassed, I whispered, not in public. She replied simply, you're pregnant. I was taken completely aback. Why the hell would you say that? She let it sit there for a minute. I bet in her head she was like, wait for it, wait for it. Then it hit me. Ish. She gave me a minute before continuing. So what you gonna do? I didn't understand. Gonna do? If it's not Sean's, F. If it is, with the shock wearing off, the scope of the situation began to take hold. I responded, I better get a test. She looked at me with pity. Damn, girl, good luck. After what he did to Chris, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. The desire that was in her eyes before I got sick was all but gone. As I began to stand, I realized what she said to me, and I paused. She looked at me flatly and said, "Ain't nobody stupid, girl." I didn't know what to say. The question still lingered in my mind despite everything I knew. Did Puffy intentionally kill Chris? She brought me back to the moment by saying, "Go." Not knowing what else to say, but knowing I had to deal with my situation right now, I replied, "I'll hit you up." She sighed and simply repeated, "Good luck." I quickly left to get the test. Chapter 16, Christian. The next day I was sitting on my couch, deep in thought, when the doorbell rang. I went to let Sean in. This was going to be scary. We made our way back to the living room and we sat down. Quincy was asleep. Sean seemed legitimately concerned. "What's so urgent?" I didn't know what else to do. I just blurted out, "I'm pregnant." The air in the room was as thick as J-Lo. He was quiet. What is he thinking? He asked the obvious question, "Are you sure?" I spoke rapidly. "I was on a pill. I'll get rid of it. I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know." "That's wonderful. This is great." I was so confused. "Huh? You're not mad?" He laughed. "Mad? No, why would I be mad at this wonderful news? I'm going to be a dad with the woman I love bearing my child. What could possibly be better?" He jumped right on the phone and called one of his besties. I could hear Will congratulating him. Sean said, "Yeah, definitely. Hold on. Kim, baby." I was still in awe of the fact that he didn't get angry. And yes, I will admit, I was sure he was going to hit me. So it was with relief when I replied, "Yes." He told me excitedly, "We got to have a party." His excitement was contagious. I was getting really excited too. "Yes, a gender reveal, and yes, of course, we're going to do all that, but everyone is going to want to sleep with you right before you give birth." My heart sank in my chest. "Everybody is going to what too?" Sean went on with the same excitement. "Well, not everybody. You know, Will, Jada, Snoop." "Sean, I'm having your baby." He verbally waved me off. "It'll be fine." I couldn't help myself. I began to cry. Sean grew quiet on the phone, then spoke low. "I'll call you back." He hung up and took me by the hands. "Baby, I never asked anything from you." I tried to see him through the tears streaming down my face. I couldn't believe the words coming out of his mouth. I tried to speak. "Sean, I provide everything anyone could ever want. Do you want for anything?" Sobbing, I replied, "No, but..." He continued, "This is the kind of thing I have to do in order to continue giving you this comfortable lifestyle where you live in the lap of luxury and get to be on TV shows and in movies. I know you don't want this, but do you want all of this to go away?" A whimper is all I could manage. "No." He continued softly, "Then we got to do this." I said, "But Sean, I don't believe in all this spiritual crazy-ish. We got here because you're brilliant, not because of sex parties." He replied, "Do you trust me?" I did. My soul was so broken. "I did," I responded. "Yes." He sighed as he said, "Then let's do what we need to do to keep what we have." He pulled me in to hug me. "Thank you, baby. We're going to have a beautiful baby." He ordered me some food, and that night I cried myself to sleep. I was going to be gangbang at 9 months pregnant. I want my children out of this life. My child's going to have a good God-like name, a Christian name. They are not going to take his soul. And here's what I have to say now, reading this over, in my mind what did he say? Do you want to keep this? This is what we have to do to keep this. He wasn't talking about doing this to please man. He's saying spiritually, this is what they have to do spiritually. Oh, God, this is some dark evil. Let's go on. Chapter 17, Broken Promises. I don't know how this managed to stay out of the media for so long. Sean got to the point where he was incredibly abusive and only his inner circle knew. The artists were all too afraid of him to say something. He had gained so much power, no one would say anything. Puff Daddy was a kingpin. Monday afternoon, Quincy was in school. Our son Christian was with the nanny. I still had to make a living. I still love the camera and had just been cast for a new movie. Sean was coming over to celebrate with me, just the two of us. I was in the bathroom when he came in. We were going out to eat. He was in a foul mood. Sean yelled, "What the F?" I would have to walk on eggshells. I came out of the bathroom to find him holding flowers. I smiled. "You brought me flowers?" Puff yelled, "No." "So who the F are they from?" I was bewildered and told him honestly, "I don't know. Probably just a fan." He threw the attached card at me. I picked it up and read it. "Sean, He slapped me so hard I hit the ground. Sean yelled, "Who the F were you with the other night?" I looked down at the card that was lying on the ground next to me that read, "The other night was amazing. We must do it again. Ish." I tried to explain. "Sean," he threw the flowers at me. "That's not how this works. You have my child. You don't touch anyone unless I allow it." I yelled back, "It was just coffee with the producer. It was nothing." He glared at me as he asked, "Who the F is this producer?" I was trying desperately to calm him down as I responded, "From the movie, babe. Calm down." He picked up my coffee mug and slammed it against the wall. Coffee flew everywhere while he yelled, "Who the F is this Ian think he is?" "Sean, he's just some producer. We talked about the role and me maybe starring in another movie he wants to produce. I swear that's it, Sean." Sean exploded even more. "He wants to put the move on my effing family?" At the top of his lungs. "My effing family?" He flipped the table over, breaking it. It was a heavy table. Sean is stronger than he looks. I pleaded with him. "Sean, please." He yelled at me, "What?" I tried my best to calm him down. He probably didn't know. It didn't come up. "You're publicly dating someone else." So he screamed at me. It somehow seemed even more intense. "So you didn't tell him to back off?" "Sean, I didn't." He hit me with a chair. I don't remember anything after that until I woke up in the hospital room. My arm was in a cast hanging from a sling. My face hurt. My eyebrow was in immense pain in my lip. As I came to, the face I saw was the man who put me there. Sean asked with concern in his voice, "How are you feeling?" I responded, "Stay away from me. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I save it for the lawyers. Stay away from me." We were in a private hospital room. No one could hear me. I screamed like my life depended on it. If I didn't ring for assistance, I would not get none. He kept going. "I was just so jealous. You know how I am. He took hold of my left arm, the one that was not slung up in a cast. "You have our beautiful son, our family. It's just..." At that point, I had enough. "The one you slutted out right before giving birth? Are you effing shitting me? Stay away from me. Don't come near me or my kids." He continued to plead. "I'm sorry, baby. I promise I'll never put my hands on you again. I swear. I've heard this song one too many times. I spoke through gritted teeth. If you come near me or my kids again, I'll call the cops." A flash of anger returned. "You will use my kid to threaten me?" But then he caught himself. "I understand you're angry." I glared at him as I cut him off. "I'm serious, Sean." He spoke blandly with no energy. "And tell them what? That you had a car accident? They'll pity you. That you hit your head?" He was going to make me look crazy. They were going to believe him. He was a kingpin. "You're an effing bastard." Sean spent the next 6 months helping me heal, working his way back into my life and into my bed. I was so damn stupid. Of course, I wasn't cast for either movie. From what I understand, the producer died of pneumonia anyway. Chapter 18. Sweet goodbyes. Sean kept his word for the most part until he didn't. I ended up pregnant again. He wanted energy from that too. That will be my last sex party. My body will never be ravaged by so many people again, especially while I'm pregnant. What if something happened to the twins? After this, who thinks of putting in a character that gets gangbanged while they're pregnant? I think you don't want to believe it's real, because all the idols that you put on a pedestal, you're going to realize that they pissed in your face because they're nothing but men. Disgusting men and women. After that, I wanted out. But when I tried dating someone else, the guy ended up dead from pneumonia. I knew Sean was behind it. This was not a coincidence. He gets jealous of a guy, they die of pneumonia. I could be next. If I'm going to get out of this alive, I'm going to have to do something to make him stay away from me. I had a plan, but it's dangerous. Sean has a vault where he keeps videotapes of all his conquests. I started sleeping with him again. After he falls asleep, he was starting to drink heavily. I would get into the vault and get a couple of tapes, take them home, make copies, and swap them for the next set of tapes a few days later. It took weeks to get them all copied. He never knew. And I had it, my way out. Some of the tapes had things I would never have expected. The gay parties are one thing, but the young boys, Usher, Little Bow Wow, Justin Bieber, I would have never known. My God, is he grooming Quincy? This has to end. I invited him over one day to confront him and to put an end to our on-again, off-again relationship. He entered my home unannounced for the last time. He would no longer have the key after today. I was in the kitchen. Kimora and I were sharing drinks. I was scared to face him alone. Sean entered smiling. "What's up, Kimmy?" "Hey, Mora." I told Sean, "Sit down." Because of my tone, he looked at me stunned and asked, "What's going on? What is this?" I responded with delight. "Me taking my life back. We're done." "Nigga," is what she should have said. Let's go on. He answered, "Hold on, wait a minute." I was so excited I wasn't hearing any of it. I shouted at him, "No, no more. This is effing over." He looked confused as he asked, "Where's all this coming from?" With disgust, I said, "I got the footage, Sean." He looked even more confused as he inquired, "What are you talking about?" Kimora said with revulsion, "Usher too?" Sean said, "Wait, what the F is going on?" Sean stood aggressively. Kimora responded, "Don't make me call the cops." Sean's anger was creeping in as he replied, "This is how it is?" I simply nodded. "If anything happens to either one of us, it gets released." He seethed as he queried, "After all I've done for you?" I don't think I was ever so happy as when I said those words, "Get out." Angrily, he started to leave, looking back with pure hatred. As he walked down the stairs, he turned around with fury and lunged at me. He knocked me down near the top of the stairs. I was hurt. Kimora screamed, "Stop!" As he began to crouch over me, I kicked at him, hitting him in the knee, then the face. He went tumbling down the stairs. He was too hurt to get up. I called the cops. Kimora left before they arrived. When he left, it was in an ambulance. I felt empowered. I felt safe. Deshaun Combs' days had finally come to an end. Chapter 19, the finale. Things were okay for a while. I started dating again. It was almost normal until I got serious with someone. Then my boyfriend died of pneumonia. I knew it was Sean again. That's when I decided to write this book. A few days ago, my home was burglarized. Only laptops were stolen. I know it's that bastard. Of course, I had a copy in the cloud that I was able to easily download here on this new computer. As I continue to write now, I'll send this into the cloud as well. I will send out copies via email and my Google Drive password will be attached so the missing chapters can be assessed. The book must get out. There are so many more chapters to add. This outline is a great start. I have to organize the rest of the chapters and add them in little by little. I actually planned on spending today working on exactly that until I met up with Kimora. But I'm not feeling well. Thank God the kids aren't here this weekend. I can rest. I called Kimora to cancel our plans. When I spoke to her, she said, "Girl, that don't sound like no flu. You want to go to the hospital?" That didn't immediately alarm me. I told her I just need some rest and quickly got off the phone. But why can't I get my doctor? Why won't he pick up my phone? Oh no. I called Sean from my bedroom where I'm lying here in my bed. All I could think about was the kids, my babies, who are with this monster, the man that I now suspect of having done this to me. Sean picked up with an air of superiority in his tone that let me know it was too late for me. He spoke confidently into the phone. "Hello?" I screamed at him, "You bastard! I have your effing children." "What are you talking about? The kids are with me," he replied with a mocking innocence. "There's literally nothing I can do. I could only ask, did you ever love me?" Instead of answering the question, he responded, "The most important thing to me in the world is loyalty." I can't believe it. I had to ask even though I understood. What the F does that mean? With the same feigned innocence he mocked, "Kim, is something wrong?" He's going to continue this game to the bitter end. I asked one last time, "How could you?" Again, with the narcissism I had now come to despise, he responded, "How could I?" "Do what? I gave you everything. You went to someone else. You left me just like everyone else did." You asked, "How could I?" "How could I what?" I yelled, "Look what you did to everyone around you." There was only anger in his response. "So you're saying everyone leaves because of how I am, and you were going to expose me?" He had me burglarized. I knew it. I shouldn't have threatened him. I should have just published a book. I'm going to die like Heavy D, like Biggie, like Pac, like so many others, and it's because he is the monster. Before hanging up, I said simply, "That's not the only copy, you F." I hung up and shot up a group text. I let everyone know he got me. Then I called 911. As I sit here waiting for the ambulance, I am writing this chapter, praying that I make it to the hospital. I don't feel like writing anymore. I don't think I'll be around to see it in print. It's okay. I'm sending it out. He won't get away with this. The world will know. Sean Combs, you are going down, you effing bastard. Now I'm going to read the party notes. I'll be sure to reveal why he felt Kim was running from Sean, and initially everyone felt he was seeking attention. However, numerous comments and allegations are coming from multiple sources that just may prove his statements have validity. Kim Porter shared twins with Sean, and she was constantly battling to maintain custody of them. Kim was writing a book about her life with Sean that allegedly included abuse, infidelity, and numerous wrongdoings. In the alleged book, it is said Kim went into detail about everything that happened in her life with Sean, from physical and emotional abuse, wiretapping, being watched and followed by paid personnel, and only being able to maintain her twins because she threatened to expose him if he attempted to take them from her. It has long been speculated that Sean swings both ways. Kim states he required her to wear a strap-on when they had intimacy. Kim also allegedly approached Andre Harrell about Sean's intimacy with him, which was denied. However, it's rumored she had evidence the two were more than just business friends. Allegedly, Kim had quite a bit of footage of Sean with numerous men, validating the rumors that have been circulating for years. Sean had a reputation of publicly humiliating Kim with other women bearing children, one even being pregnant at the same time. The world knew the Sean-Kim Porter relationship was far from sweet and innocent. In fact, it was easily labeled as toxic. Kim's family has threatened to file a wrongful death lawsuit, feeling natural causes was not the reason for her death. Numerous exposés have questioned the cause of death and the location of her body when she was found. Kim had pneumonia and was said to have died peacefully in her sleep. But it's been said there was blood found on her pillowcase and on the bathroom floor leading to her bedroom. Allegedly, Kim was found unresponsive in her bed, but she was discovered on the bathroom floor. So the question remains, who placed her in her bed? Reports from the original coroner supposedly said there were toxicants found in Kim's system and suspected foul play. An anonymous person said Kim's last phone call was to 911 at around 2:43 a.m. and she was found the next morning at 11 a.m. The next page, which is the last page, says, "My name is Kim Porter. I was born in Columbus, Georgia on December the 15th, 1970. I passed away from pneumonia and other complications unknown on November the 15th, 2018 in Los Angeles, California. It seems as if my death was shrouded by mystery and possibly suspicious motives. Did I die from pneumonia?" That is the end, folks. The book is titled Tell It All, Jamal Millwood. And, I just got the book today, and I was sharing it with you guys to give you an update on the things that was omitted in the first book. Thanks for showing your appreciation again. I hope you enjoyed me reading this book for you. Thanks again. Thank you for commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Sharing is caring. I'm shutting down the shop. 10-4, over and out. Have a good day.